Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and gosh, I don't even know what to say about the weather and how everything's going, and the craziness and school and homecoming's
Homecoming
over.
was great.
Homecoming was fun for the kids.
Yeah,
Good
we
day
won
to
the
go
football
outside
game.
and take pictures. Yeah, the football game, that was fun to watch.
Stacey and I went on a little antiquing road trip to Southern Illinois and got some antiques and with our friend Jessica, and that was fun.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing a different change on our set. We're actually going to be moving from this location and going to start recording in Flora at the original Wabash building there. So we had to get a new table. So we went to Jessica's dad's house in Sparta. We took off and went down to Sparta. It was a beautiful day. And of course, Jessica's dad and mother, her mother has passed, but they were antique dealers. And so he let us go through some stuff, and I bought a couple other things, and we got a new table, so we won't have this big old desk, and so they should be changing up. I think we're getting close. To changing our new set.
I think so too. So that's exciting, and it was a great weekend.
I enjoyed the weekend.
I enjoyed it too.
Weekend, yeah.
It's one of the fun weekends.
It was busy
year
because you had homecoming, and then the class of 1975 rented out the theater. They had a ball. They loved the theater. Did you see the picture that they took in front of the town theater sign?
There was another reunion at Anthony's that night, the class of 64 or something like that. And then there was another reunion somewhere else I heard.
And then the Hall of Fame, the Florida High School Hall of Fame. So I had friends in town, and it was just one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, when you went downtown, it was packed.
People everywhere.
It was packed everywhere. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
Yes, it was a good weekend.
It was a good weekend. The football game was awesome. I'm glad we won. I'm assuming we're going to be in the playoffs then.
We are. Yeah. We've already won 5 games. I think in order to be in the playoffs, you had to secure the 5th win. So I think we're definitely in the playoffs. How
many games do we play a year? Because we've won 6, right then?
Yeah, I think we've won 6.
And we've lost 1.
And we lost 1. I think there's only 2 more.
I think there's 9 games a year football plays.
8 or 9. I don't know.
I can't remember.
It's almost over. I do know that.
Yeah, it's not like basketball. And
that was my last, unless we go to the playoffs and there's another football game that I get to go to. But I think that was probably my last one that I can go to on my schedule.
And isn't Flora maybe going to get the playoff game? Maybe.
Oh, I don't know. That'd be cool.
I think Flora is working to get the playoff game.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll make it to that. We definitely have
the facility. Our facility is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yes. When you travel around to some of these other schools and you go to their football fields and you're like, really?
Yeah.
Greenville. I know.
Greenville University doesn't touch ours.
Really?
It's Greenville. The first time we went there when Connor was playing, it was like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
The school's $34,000 a year, and this is your football field?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's shocking.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt about El Dorado. I mean, El Dorado is a town very similar in size to Flora and has access to the same amount of grant money and blah, blah, blah that we get to do things. And their football field was disappointing. Their home side was obviously better than the guest side, but their bleachers were the old style that doesn't have any steps or handrails.
Oh.
So it's just climbing.
No.
And I'm not a climber. My balance is not good. So Jason and I sat on the second row instead of climbing all the way through them. And then we couldn't see hardly anything because the team is lined up in front of you, so you can't see over them anyway.
Well,
El Dorado could do better.
Flora's, of course, back in my day, the side that Flora built up on is where the other people. I mean, we were on the opposite side. We were on the north side of the football field, and they have built that all up. But I mean, it's I mean, it's a lot like when we redid ours, we didn't just like, oh, this is where the other team's coming, so nobody cares. It's nice too.
Yes,
it's very nice. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, kudos to our football field. Looks amazing. Of course, there's been lots of donators. I know Jan Phillips, Doug Phillips, and Jan Phillips has donated the locker room that's on the east end for the football players. Is nice. I think they have their own weight room and everything.
Yeah, the field house.
The field house. So then the other people, the other team has our old one. So yeah, it's pretty nice. You can't beat it. I've gone to a lot. I've been to a lot of football fields in my day, and I think Flora's is top notch.
Yeah, well, we should have the playoffs then.
Yeah, I hope we do.
I
don't know why
it should be so. It should be so.
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah.
from your lips.
Why don't they just ask us and
Well,
be
I
like,
think people should ask us more things.
I know, like the IHSA, like just call us and we'll say, yeah, have it at Flora.
We'll talk to you about our football field, and we'll compare them to everybody else, and we'll just tell you what's what.
That's right.
It seems pretty easy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they probably will not ask us.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like the world should be Jim Earlywine's view of his life. This is what he said to me: Stacey, it's your world. I just live in it.
He knows. He knows the truth.
That's what he says. I'm like, hey, what about this, this, and this? He's like, Stacey, and that's what he says. Stacey, it's your world. I just live in it. So, I think that's how everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know
Everyone
what
needs
we
to
have
catch
the
on.
answers.
That's right. We know, and if
We
we
do-
don't, we'll figure it out.
If we don't, we'll figure it out. And if we don't figure it out, well, then it doesn't work in the first place.
Right. You don't need it. You just don't need it.
We don't do it. Yeah. So, gosh, what else is coming up? Oh, just too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fall. Yeah.
Christmas
Well,
will be here soon.
yeah. Oh, and another thing that's not going to be knocking on the door is the Flora Academic Foundation Radiothon.
Yeah.
That's the first week. That's like usually on my anniversary, the first Thursday of November.
Mm-hmm.
So that falls there.
Yep.
And we're already halfway through October.
I know. I'm telling you, I
Isn't
said
today
it
the
at the
14th?
beginning of the fall, and I say it again. It will go by faster than summer. Fall will.
It always goes by fast.
It'll be Christmas. It'll be Christmas.
Yeah,
And
because it's
that's
already
okay,
the 14th. I judge everything by my utility bill. Didn't I just pay that?
Oh, see, I don't
it's
judge
due-
anything by my utility bill because it just automatically comes out. I don't even think about it.
See,
I
I
don't
don't
even
do
care
automatic.
about it.
I don't like automatic stuff a lot.
Well, you should, because then you don't.
Jim
Then you don't
does.
think about your utility. Like it's not even. It doesn't even register on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue.
Yeah, Jim does. Jim, all everything's automatic here and there. No, I just never have. I don't know why I don't.
Apparently, you like stress.
Yeah, well, I don't stress out about it. It's just
Okay,
like
good.
it's like, oh
It's
my gosh,
just how you judge
what's
the
the
time.
date? Oh my gosh, it's already because it's due on the 15th.
Oh, okay.
That's how I judge time. It's like, oh my gosh, oh well, utility bills due. Oh my
See,
gosh,
I don't
this
trust
month is-
myself to remember that it's the 15th. I need to pay it. I used to. I mean, gosh, I went years and years paying it, writing a check every month. So you'd think I would, but anymore, I'm like, nope, just let them handle it.
Yep. Well, I
So-
know, but I've got like our house automatically comes out. That would be the shop,
Mm-hmm.
the theater.
Yeah, you have a lot of utility bills.
I would have just besides our house, the shop, the Airbnb, and the theater has three.
Three
So I
three
pay
utility
six-
bills because it has three addresses.
Three addresses. So I pay six utility.
You're their number one customer.
6 utility locations every month.
Holy cow. Wowzers.
Wowzers, yeah. Does anybody want to know what we pay in utilities every month?
No,
No,
it's sad.
you don't.
It is sad. So
Yeah.
anyway, changing the subject to
'Kay.
something fun.
Okay.
What? I'm trying to think of anything else. Anything other than utility bills that we could discuss.
Yeah.
Christmas, Chris Kindle Market. I think they're
Oh,
doing that
yeah.
again, and that'll be the same weekend as our as our Madrigal.
Madrigal.
Madrigal
I am
at the
super buzzed
theater.
about that.
If you
I
like
can't even
dinner
drive
theater.
around now without. Oh, yesterday. Okay, so we'll talk. Explain the Madrigal, and then I'll tell you what me and JoJo did yesterday.
Okay, so the Madrigal is like a medieval themed dinner with singing, and there's going to be a actor troupe from Palestine, Illinois that comes. They're going to provide the singing, and the entertainment and the jokes. It's funny, it's humorous,
Christmas.
it's Christmas themed. You're going to sit at a table and have a feast, a medieval feast is served to you. It's going to be decorated beautifully, and the entertainment's going to be top notch. And that is on December the 13th at
Yes.
7 p.m. And tickets will go on sale. I think November 1st is what I'm thinking for ticket sales.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
the decorations for the Madrigal will be all fresh, pretty much. So I can't drive anywhere without looking at
People's trees.
yard, people's
because
trees.
we are scoping out your yards looking for holly bushes and pine trees.
Yeah.
So if you
If there's a
have
knock on your
great,
door and these shining faces,
we're gonna
gonna want some of your holly
yeah, we're
bushes.
gonna do some fresh clippings the weekend of the
Yeah.
of the Madrigal. We're gonna
Yeah.
have fresh greenery on the tables.
yep, I'm going to start investing in that green wire to wire all up. But yesterday, I was sitting in my chair and the kids were playing in the yard. I've already got a 5-gallon bucket full of pine cones.
Oh, okay, good.
My trees, they're falling off. So me and JoJo went around and picked up pine cones.
Oh, good.
So that'll help.
I'm glad you have some. Yeah.
Me too. So we don't have to do that. My pine trees are not nice, so mine are kind of dying. But we can get pine cones. But we don't. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about doing that. It's like I want to go do it now, but I can't because they'll die.
They'll die.
So they'll die.
Yep, it's going to be a beautiful thing. So if you enjoy things like that and you like feasts, you should buy a ticket. $30 a person. Includes your meal and your entertainment for the evening.
Yeah, that's cheap entertainment, people. And this Beth and I went to Palestine
2 years ago to watch this.
To watch it, and I was. It takes a lot to impress me. I am not easily. I'm impressed by the Fox Theater, and you know what I'm saying. And it takes a lot to impress me. I'm pretty. What do you want to say? Critical. I have a tendency to be a little
when
bit
it comes
critical.
to singing. She's a singer, so when it comes to singing and things, she knows if they don't hit the key, if they're not there, she knows. I don't. I'm just like, yay, someone's singing.
Yeah, and I'm like 5 missed notes. You're a little flat. Pick it up a little bit. Open up your belly. Open up that mouth. But anyway, that's me. But I and just the scenery and the beautifulness of the food, and I was impressed with it. So I'm very excited.
Yes.
That they are coming. And
my friend Becky Miller is the director of the one in Palestine, and she is bringing her group to Flora.
Yeah.
And she's fantastic. She knows
very
her
nice.
stuff.
I am really looking forward to that. So I really want to just go down and start chopping everybody's stuff down, but I can't do that right now.
Yeah. But if you have holly or pine trees or different types of evergreens, because we want multiple varieties of evergreens, and you don't care if we trim some in December, let us know.
Yeah.
Reach out to us on Facebook or email us at bytheway.with Beth and Stacey @gmail.com.
Yep. All right.
Do you have an ad for today?
I do. This is another ad. This ad is actually terrible. Is this you 5 years from now? When tempted to overindulge, reach for a Lucky instead. Start smoking so you're not fat.
It's toasted.
It's toasted.
Your throat protection against irritation, against cough.
Yeah.
Read all that on the right there. Can you read that?
Yes, I can. Listen to this, guys. Be moderate. Be moderate in all things, even in smoking. Avoid the future shadow by avoiding overindulgence. If you would maintain that modern, ever-youthful figure, reach for Lucky instead. Lucky Strike, the finest cigarette you've ever smoked. Made of the finest tobacco, the cream of the crop. It's toasted. Lucky Strike has an extra secret heating process. Everyone knows that heat purifies, and so 20,679 physicians say that Luckies are the less irritating to your throat. Don't be a big fatty, just light one up.
Okay, so my comments on this is,
oh my God.
One, wouldn't that be a great way to stay skinny if it didn't also kill you?
Yeah.
And it wasn't so expensive. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could just smoke something every day and be like, I'm never going to gain weight. I smoke.
Because
but
my
it has
mother,
no harmful side effects.
My mother was a smoker. And my mother, the reason why she smoked, because when she quit smoking, she ate more because food tasted better and she gained weight. My mother was a smoker so she wouldn't get fat. Because instead of eating,
she smoked.
She'd light up. I'll pass. I'll be a fatty. I'll be the lady on the left.
Yeah, and so that brings me to my second comment about this. Can you imagine being hired for this ad, and instead of getting like the lead part, the gal in the green, you get the
fat lady?
The fat lady. She had to wear a swimsuit and everything too, and they're like, "Well, we're just going to gray you out.
Yeah, we're just going to gray you out.
You're the bad shadow. You're the fat bad shadow in our ad." Her, you know.
It's a great ad.
Her self-esteem just went down the toilet.
Yeah.
That poor gal.
And the skinny lady, we're going to pay $20 and you get 5 cents.
You fatty.
You That's a great one. I'm telling you, these ads I'm finding
that would
make me chuckle.
You could never get by with that today.
Hello, 1940s. There you go. All right, we need to take a commercial break, and you're going to come back with a couple good stories.
Yeah, I got veteran stories today. We'll be back.
All right.
This is Christy, inviting you to wrap yourself in lasting luxury at Carnaby Square. We specialize in one-on-one customer service, high quality, head-turning, on-trend fashions, footwear, accessories, and a complete line of Brighton leather goods and jewelry. If you want to nix fast fashion and invest in a true-to-size, ethically manufactured work, wardrobe that you'll wear for years. It's time to treat yourself at Carnaby Square in downtown Fairfield.
Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So today I have some stories about veterans, about war times I'm going to share. I have this awesome little newspaper here that I got from Don Thomas. It's from 1993. It was a Veterans Day issue for the Clay County Advocate Press. And they put this nice little mini paper together, and it is full of veteran stories. And they are all incredible. A lot of them we haven't covered. There's a lot in here we have covered, people, but there's some ones I had never heard. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to talk about it today, but I also have pulled some things out of it that I'm going to use as we approach Veterans Day. But there's just too much. If I would have saved this, I mean, if I covered every story in here, it would take me another 3 months to cover it all. They're all so good. So anyway, you'll just see me pull it. Yeah, and there's pictures and everything, and they're all local. So the first one I'm going to start out with is this story that was I'm in here, and it's the headline is "Daughter Still Seeks Father's Burial Place." Okay. So this one actually was a mystery. I'm going to read it to you, and it was a little bit of a mystery. And it's by a woman named Audrey Haynes. And it says, William Josiah Smith was born in Clay County in the Oak Mound neighborhood. The son of Josiah and Martha Porter Smith of Xenia, he was the father of Audrey Smith Haynes of Flora. That's who's writing this. He died at Fort Des Moines, Iowa, just before World War I ended. He never saw his daughter face to face as he died of Hodgkin's disease, and she was covered with a bag-like garment for protection. I think maybe they didn't know what he had, so they covered her up with a bag. He had been flown there the day before he died, having been on his way to France. So they were shipping him to France to fight in World War I, and then discovered he was actually super sick. The poor guy had Hodgkin's disease.
Oh, my gosh.
Badly, because he died the next day.
And
he was buried, this is where the mystery starts. He was buried in a cemetery near the fort. But when his daughter went to visit his grave in 1946... which had been a long time because World War I was like if it was towards the end of World War I, it was probably like 1917 or 18, I'm guessing. She went to visit his grave in 1946, and his body had been moved to a holding place for final burial. So they had moved the body out of this original place. His daughter was not notified of the move and has since tried to find his final resting place so that she could go put flowers on it. His serial number has been lost and all identification, but she has tried to find it. He was drafted into World War I from Clay County, Illinois. His daughter, Audrey Smith Haynes, went to great lengths to locate his grave. Maybe he's buried in a mass grave, it says. You know, they did that. World War I, there was just too many, and they didn't know it was one big mass grave. Maybe he went there. She would very much like to know where he's buried, and she has contacted Veterans Affairs, congressmen, and even the President of the United States in 1973 or 74. No luck. Okay, so that's the mystery. Let's take a look at Josiah Smith. William Josiah Smith. There he is as a young man going off to World War I, and he's got a wife and a daughter, but sadly dies of Hodgkin's disease. That's
He
him.
doesn't look real healthy there.
Nope, he doesn't, does he? He probably wasn't. He was probably
yeah.
already sick.
What a shame. But there's no way you would never know,
Well,
right?
the mystery thickens.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. Because now we have technology, and now we have Find a Grave and Ancestry.com and all of these things. Let's see another picture of Josiah. Nope, not that one. That's the only one that's not him, so keep going. They're little boys. Yeah, there he is as a young man. Yep, so that is that at the bottom. I think it says, and Joe Smith. He went by Joe. His middle name was Josiah, but his first name was William. And is there one of a little boy? Yeah, that's also him when he was a really small child. So
Now, where'd you find these at?
These are all on Find a Grave. So, what happened was this daughter had, contacted Veterans Affairs and all that. You can take that down now, Ty, thanks. And they actually did find where they had moved him to. The government knew where he was. It's just the daughter hadn't maybe contacted the right person or had the right information to say where he was. So yes, he was tracked down. Do we have a picture of his daughter with the gravestone, Ty?
So was
Yes. They found him. William Josiah Smith, Illinois, private MD. He was in the medical department.
Oh, good.
And he died 1918, November 8th, 19. That's his daughter that wrote this article. So this was published in 1993, the mystery, okay? And then this picture was taken Memorial Day weekend 2018. So this isn't that far back in history that this was taken. 100 years after he passed away, which I am not certain that that's his daughter because it's not labeled in the picture. But it probably is. Yeah. She looks old enough that would work out because he was probably 20 when he had her, or so, and then she's probably 80 there. Okay. This is the first time anyone in the family visited his gravesite, as no one knew where it was. And they said in the picture, "Thank you to the U.S. Veterans Affairs Office for setting it up and letting them know, where he was."
And where's? I'm sorry.
So where is it?
Where is that?
Where is it? It's. Let me go back to that page. It's not far from where he was originally.
Yeah, that's a neat picture. All this time.
Yep.
Well, like I said, that's one good thing about DNA and modern technology anymore.
Right.
Can you imagine, though, what their heartache that they were going through all these years?
Yeah, because they just, they did not know where he was, and...
She's a cute little thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Camp Dodge, Polk County, Iowa.
Okay.
That's where he died. But he's buried in Keokuk National Cemetery in Lee County, Iowa. So he's still up there in Iowa.
Okay.
But yeah, he was a private in the medical department is all that says. And then, Ty, is there a picture of a... yeah, we can show his stone up close. That's another picture. And then I have a piece of paper that I sent you a picture of. Yeah, let's look at this. This is how they finally tracked him down, is that they found this private in the medical department from Illinois. And then you can see on the right side of your screen, about a little past halfway down, it says reinterred from Fort Des Moines, Iowa.
Mississippi.
Yeah, it was the paperwork was done in Mississippi, but he's still buried in Iowa.
1951.
But yeah, this
Huh.
This is, I don't know, where they... so they reburied him on June the 7th in 1948. So he would have been at that first grave from 1918 to 1948.
Yeah, date of death,
Uh-huh.
date of interment.
Which is weird that they waited so long, and I don't know why they moved it, if it wasn't the family's decision, if that cemetery he was originally in was like in danger of being flooded or something, or if they had this national cemetery in Keokuk, so they moved all soldiers to Keokuk. I don't know. I don't know. But that's the actual War Department paperwork there on how they ended up finding him.
Wow.
So anyway, mystery solved. So if you read this newspaper in 1993 and you have had this mystery on your mind
It is solved
since 1993, I want you to know that it is solved. So, okay, do we need to take a break?
Not
Are we
yet.
good? Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next story. And this one is a long one. We've mentioned, here we go, Paul. We've mentioned this guy on another episode. I think we might have done an entire episode on Paul Riggle. Did we? Or we did a whole episode on Paul Riggle?
I don't know if it was a whole. I don't
We
know.
talked about Paul Riggle.
We talked about Paul
He was an
Riggle.
attorney here in Florida for many, many years. I remember the man. He was this tiny little man. He was so nice and cute and used to come in to the newspaper office when I worked there when I was young, and he was quite aged at that time. But he served in World War II, and he wrote this article called Convoy for this paper that I have here, and it talks about his trip to get to where he was stationed at in World War II. And so I'm going to read some of this to you because it's incredible, and it's going to make you thankful for all of the things that these servicemen did to ensure our freedom. So he's going to talk about the ship that he went overseas on. And it starts off by saying, the ship was tied up at Pier 89 on the Hudson River on the west side of Manhattan, which is at about 50th Street. It was a large ship, the Italian luxury liner Conte de Savoia, which had been captured or in some way acquired by the United States sometime after December 1941, when our country declared war on Germany, Italy, and Japan. It had been renamed and converted to a troop carrier to transport 7,000 soldiers, and it was no longer a luxury liner. The crew, of course, was U.S. Navy. I sent a picture of the ship, Ty. Do you have that? Let's take a look at that. This is what we're talking about. This had once been like a cruise ship, like if you were going to go on a Carnival cruise or something. This is what you would have went on back then, like a luxury liner to go to Europe or whatever. It was captured. It was an Italian ship. It was captured by the United States. They converted it to a troop carrier, and they put 7,000 men on there. Now, look at the water line where the water is hitting that ship, okay? Here in a minute, I'm going to talk about where he was located at in the ship. We might come back to that picture, but for right now, you can take it down. Loading on that fateful day had begun early in the morning and continued until long after dark. So it took them all day to get 7,000 people on there. Our helmets had been coated with chalk, and as the long, seemingly endless line approached the gangplank in that great cavernous shed, we were instructed that at the gangplank, a loading officer or non-com would call out the last name of each of us, to which we were to respond with first name and initial. So Riggle, to which I answered Paul T. On up the gangplank with duffel bag on my shoulder, and I was on my way. A week or two earlier, I had arrived at Fort Meade in the piney woods of Maryland, about halfway between Washington and Baltimore, and was outfitted with all new clothing and equipment. After a few days, with hundreds of others, I was shipped to Camp Kilmer near New Brunswick, New Jersey, which was the staging area for the New York port of embarkation for all troops shipped out from the port of New York to the European theater. Camp Kilmer was named for the poet Joyce Kilmer, who was killed in France in World War I. Late one afternoon, 2 or 3 days after arrival at Camp Kilmer, we were loaded on commuter-type railroad coaches and taken to Jersey City, where we loaded onto a ferry boat crossed the Hudson standing up on the ferry, and were put off at the loading dock to board the ship. So he's been in line all day to get on the ship, and it was about 8 p.m. when he finally went up the gangplank. On board, we moved in a long, endless line over the deck and down the ship's ladders, and finally to a compartment on D deck, a few decks below the waterline. Let's pull that picture up real quick before we have to take another break. There's the ship. He was a few decks below the waterline. Okay, he was way down there in the bowels of that ship. There were 7,000 people, and they divided them all into compartments. Our compartment was called Doughboy, and for 12 days to come, this compartment was to be home for 200 GIs. What a home. Okay, so his compartment on that deck had 200, so they just kind of grouped them into groups of 200 and named them. That'll be important in the story later. I don't know how long I have.
You're done.
Okay, we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
At Clay County Hospital, we are dedicated to providing quality care for you and your family. Our skilled medical team is committed to your well-being, ensuring that you receive the personalized attention you deserve. From filling your prescriptions at our state-of-the-art pharmacy to a visit with our compassionate behavioral health providers, we're here to support you every step of the way in your journey. Experience the difference at Clay County Hospital, where your health is our priority. Clay County Hospital. Complete care, start to finish.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County, Farmers Mutual Insurance.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We're talking about Paul Riggle's journey to World War II and what it was like on the ship that he was on with 7,000 other men. And I have a picture of Paul. Ty, if you want to pull that one up, we'll show that while I read. Yeah, this is Paul when he was young. I can show you more pictures of Paul. And plus, we did another episode on him. You could go back. But we did not talk about this, about his journey across the sea. And my grandpa told me a very similar story to this about this ship that he was on with thousands and thousands of men. Okay, so the ship, why don't you go back to the picture of the ship, too, while we talk about the ship. The ship had been completely refitted to serve its purpose as a troop carrier. On either side of the narrow aisles, the bunks were stacked 4 deep, and from the lower bunk to the top bunk, it was likely not more than 10 feet, so that the lower bunk was only a few inches off the deck. Each bunk allowed space for one soldier to sleep and stow his gear. Within the space allotted to each man, he not only had to fit his body, but also that big duffel bag and other necessary equipment. Fortunately, we did not yet have rifles, which would be issued when we reached Europe. Right away, I sacked out in my bunk, and sometime in the night, I felt the movement of the ship as it was pulled out of the slip by a tug and into the Hudson. Soon it was underway on its own power out in New York Harbor. Every man on board had been issued a life jacket and warned that anyone on deck without it would be subject to summary court-martial and placed in the brig.
Oh.
This happened to some. The bulky life jacket was yet another item to be kept on each man's bunk. So on your bunk, you had all of your stuff, including a life jacket. And if you went out on the deck without it, you're going to jail.
Going to jail.
That was serious business. The first morning I went out on the deck, the ship had cleared New York Harbor, heading out into the open sea, and I was amazed at what I witnessed. Scores of ships, maybe 50 to 100, for miles, all around and as far as the eye could see, assembled in convoy formation for the long voyage to Europe. There were ships of every description, troop ships, squat, fat freighters, large freighters, many with fighter aircraft lashed to the decks, tankers, and far out on all sides swiftly moving naval destroyers darting about, shepherding the convoy. It was such a sight as I had never seen before, and I was struck by the magnitude of America's war effort and the unlimited strength of this great democracy. I mean, that would be a sight to see. Ships as far as you can see. Of course, this was just one of many such convoys that had been plying the sea lanes between the United States and Europe. This ship that was taking 7,000 soldiers to Europe was manned and served by naval personnel, and I was fascinated by some of the Navy lingo. When I heard an order, direction, or information which came from the intercom and heard all over this large vessel, it was usually prefaced by the words, "Now hear this. Now hear this. Sweepers, man your brooms. Clean, sweep down fore and aft. Sweepers, man your brooms. Now hear this. Take all trash and garbage to the fantail and throw it overboard. Now hear this. The smoking lamp is out. The smoking lamp is out. Now hear this. The smoking lamp is lit. The smoking lamp is lit."
It's lit.
That's just what they heard all the time. Okay. And finally, as the big ship lay out in the Bay of the Seine, I don't know how to say that, off the port of Le Havre, we heard, "Now hear this, give the tug a good Manila line." And then the most welcome announcement of all to the some 200 soldiers in my compartment who were not seasick, "Now hear this, chow for Doughboy." Each compartment on the ship had a code name, and ours was Doughboy. From early morning until late evening, announcements for the various compartments by name came over the intercom to direct those in particular compartments to line up and go to the mess hall. This meant forming into line and proceeding up the ship's ladders and winding through a labyrinth of passages for the trip to the mess hall, which took about an hour each time. The troops were fed 2 meals a day. It is my recollection that those in Doughboy were fed at 8 a.m. and again at 4 p.m. Naval personnel operated the mess hall, and the food was generally good. They ate it standing up. He did not miss a meal, and because of the long interval between meals, he was always hungry. He goes on to say he didn't do much but lay around in bed or go out on the deck in decent weather. This story is interesting. The boy who occupied the bunk just below mine was seasick and nauseated from the time we left New York Harbor until we got off the ship in France. I don't recall his name, but Pittsburgh was his home. This would be me if I was on a ship. How horrible to be stuck there for 12 days straight. Some of us would usually bring him some hot tea and crackers on returning from the mess hall, and he would try to drink the tea and eat a cracker or two, but he would usually upchuck. I heard him say one time that if he could get off that ship, he would be willing never to go back home to Pittsburgh. It was that bad for him.
Oh, my.
One or twice every day, I would go up on an outside deck wearing my life jacket, walk around the deck, talk to other fellows, and lean on the railing and watch the great armada of ships that composed the convoy, always in the same formation as when we cleared New York Harbor. He was fascinated by the large waves of the ocean. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because there's so much here. He says compartment Doughboy was right next to the latrine, which was a great convenience for those who were suffering from seasickness, but not for the rest of us who had the benefit of the odor. He talks about the urinals were one big long trough, and they used seawater. There was no fresh water, so to flush and everything was seawater, and it was full of myriads of tiny phosphorescent sea life. It was quite amazing at first to stand there at the trough and see all those particles flying as the seawater came rushing down. Ordinary soap would not lather in this water, so we were issued salt water soap, a kind of dirty brown cake, and it would not do much either. Of course, the water that came out of the shower heads was salt water, fresh from the ocean, full of phosphorescent particles and cold. After a shower, one's body was sticky, and there was no way to get the salt off. The first 2 or 3 days of the voyage was cool, but in the days that followed, it became warmer and the daytime sun was higher in the sky. I suppose the convoy had sailed in a southeasterly direction. So the showers sound horrible. They were very confined.
No thanks.
And they're headed to the European theater of World War II. He said not only the destroyers, but the transports and freighters as well were equipped with anti-aircraft guns, 40 millimeter, I think, and manned by naval personnel. From time to time, there were alerts where all hands were called to their stations. Now hear this, general quarters, general quarters. And the sailors would run to their assigned stations on the deck to man, load, and fire the guns. So far as I know, this convoy was never attacked from air, but up on deck, the noise of the firing of the ack-ack guns in these practice alerts were deafening. Of course, the destroyers were equipped with depth charges to kick off if a submarine was suspected. Let's see. He says there was a post exchange on the ship. One day, not too long before we landed, we were told that if we would get in line for the post exchange, we would be given candy bars. When my time came, I noticed that there was a great variety of candy, but nobody got his choice. I was handed a dozen boxes of chocolate-covered raisins. I would have liked that.
No,
you would have not.
No, I do not like chocolate-covered raisins.
Ick, he says.
Ick.
I was able to trade off at least some of them. Although we were equipped with cartridge belts, which would hold 12 clips of 30 caliber ammunition, each clip containing 9 rounds, we would not be issued live ammunition until we were on our way back to the front. So the pockets and the rifle belts afforded a fine place to store the candy bars and cigarettes. He said after many days at sea, about a third to half of the ships in the convoy peeled off to the right. I've always assumed that they were headed to the Straits of Gibraltar and to the Mediterranean ports in Italy and Africa. The U.S. destroyers abandoned us at this point, and we were picked up by sleek British corvettes, which then accompanied the remainder of the convoy to its destination. A day or two later, they landed in Normandy. Most of the fellows were anxious and nervous. And time after time that night, the big ship resounded from the depth charges being dropped by corvettes or destroyers. The next day, a tugboat pulled the ship in closer to shore. And he said there were sunken ships and everything was a shambles. The troops began to disembark. In front of us, they had an 8-mile march uphill most of the way and carrying that heavy duffel bag to a temporary camp called the Forest. As we marched up the beach, we met German POWs, prisoners of war, who were being loaded on the ships we had just come over on and they were being sent to POW camps here in the U.S. For them, the war was over. For us, it was only beginning. He says, along the line of march through France, there were many little kids begging, saying, cigarette pour papa or chocolate pour mama. The next day, we were marched back to the railroad station to board trains for the front. For us, the war was up ahead many miles, but that is another story. And then he dedicates this story to a man named Norton Bowman, a boyhood friend and classmate, I'm assuming here from Flora, through grade school and high school, who was grievously wounded near Eschweiler, near the Rhine River. Norton served in the artillery unit with the 4th Division. He was laying telephone line on the ground when a German mortar shell landed near him and filled his abdomen full of shrapnel. After being hospitalized in a field hospital back of the front and probably a general hospital in England, he was sent back to the United States, was discharged, and came home to Flora, where he died from his wounds within a year. Which is super sad. I like to think if that were to happen today, it probably could be saved. Yeah. But things were different back then. But that is Paul Riggle's story of his trip overseas. And that's Paul there. Wow. And Ty, is that all of my pictures I sent in? Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's
yeah,
Paul.
that's
How
Paul.
I remember him.
That's
although
how I remember him.
although when I remember him, he was even older and shorter and
Mm-hmm.
tinier. And I'm sure he shrunk as he aged, but he was a little guy, and he
Yeah.
was always so kind to us at the newspaper office and funny. And he liked to write. And
Did he write column? Did he write columns?
he
for
would
the newspaper?
occasionally bring in stuff. So like this is a story he wrote. And I don't know what else he wrote, but I know he was always writing up something. So
Yeah, we can take a commercial break
okay.
before you go to something else.
okay, we'll take a break and be right back.
Since 2004, Ed Lewis Trucking has been moving America forward. Family owned and built on values that matter. Reliability, hard work, and service you can count on. From dry van freight to dump and hopper bottoms, plus top tier truck maintenance in their state of the art shop that's open to all truckers, not just their own fleet. They're growing stronger, expanding with their recent acquisition of McKinney Trucking, but never losing sight of what drives them. It's Ed Lewis Trucking, family driven, service proven. Call Ed Lewis Trucking at 618-686-3555.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Florida for all your custom and promotional needs.
Jimmy ordered lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, Jimmy ordered guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So we're talking veteran stories that were in this awesome little side paper from the Advocate Press in 1993. And a lot of these people that have written their stories down are passed now. So what a wonderful thing to record that before they went. This story...
We don't have a lot of Do we have a lot of writers much anymore? Like people that would write?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of people who are writers. Doesn't seem like we have any in town.
So this story is called A Pair of Shoes. Hardened enemy touched by a young girl's plight.
It's going to be sad.
It has a happy ending.
Okay.
And it's called My Unknown Soldier by Judy Lusk. Do you know Judy? Mm-hmm. I do not. I don't think. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd have to see a picture.
Yeah,
Okay. But if I do know her, I did not know she was raised in Germany. Is she German?
I don't think so. Was her dad, was she overseas?
I could tell you, I don't know. I'm going to read her story here.
You read it.
I could tell you many war stories as lived by a child during World War II. There are both good and bad memories, as I'm sure everyone who has lived through a war in any country can tell you. I like to put the bad things behind me and remember the good. One of the best stories occurred at the end of World War II in Regensburg, Germany, when I was 5 years old. My mother and I lived in a one-room apartment due to housing shortages after 13 bomb attacks. Even though the war was over, there were still extreme shortages of food, clothing, etc. At this time, I had one dress that my mom washed out nightly, but I had no shoes. Through the black market, Mom had bought a roll of leather to have some shoes made for me. Also, at this time, American soldiers were ordered to search all German homes and confiscate weapons that might have been hidden.
Oh, wow.
Many took advantage by taking things they saw and liked. Their being armed, no one was going to stop them. Early one morning, there was a knock at our door. When my mom answered, I could see this big soldier come right in. His weapon drawn, he hurriedly searched the room. He was a big, angry-looking man, and I could see my mom was as scared as I. I watched from the bed as he opened the closet, discovered the leather, stuck it under his arm, and headed for the door. My mom ran after him, explaining the leather was for a pair of shoes for me. He shoved my mom back and slammed the door as he made his exit. A few minutes later, the door opened again. The same big man filled the doorway. His eyes went first to me and then Mom, and finally a stare at me that was different than the look I had seen earlier. The anger had gone out of his face. There was a gentleness I could see and feel as he walked over to my bed and sat down. He carefully placed the leather in my lap, pulled out his wallet, and placed some money in my hand. He then gently patted me on the head as he told Mom to hurry up and get my shoes made. A few days later, I walked proudly down the street with Mom, glancing down at my new shoes and remembering how a man filled with hate and anger from a war still has the human kindness and love for a child, no matter which side that child belongs to. Thank you, my unknown friend. Okay, so that is a sad story. It does have a happy ending. But it does make, she said, no matter which side the child belongs to, which makes me think he was an American soldier. She had to be on the German side. She was living. Yeah. She was German. This is probably a different Judy Lusk, maybe, because she was a child during World War II. Yeah. So if she was 5 years old in like 1946, she was probably born in 1940. I don't know this Judy, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe you do. Maybe Judy's watching. Judy, if you have more to add to the story, we'd love to talk to you and interview you about what your memories are about things like that. So let us know. But
you just don't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom it. I can't fathom war.
Yeah, I think so. This the ads in this are good too, because to make an extra paper like this was expensive for the newspaper. I know that from working at the newspaper. These kind of extra things, the Hometown Journal would do this all the time. You needed lots of ads to make it pay for itself. This ad, I think they forgot to proofread, which is kind of my pet peeve.
And it
says, this is from Mercantile Bank. I don't know if you can zoom in on that, Abby. It's going to be like right here. Mercantile Bank. So this was where First National Bank was. It's on the corner of North Avenue. It later became U.S. Bank. This is the time period that it was called Mercantile Bank. Okay? And you can see it says Veterans Day, November 11th, 1992. Okay, so they reused this ad because actually this whole paper was printed in 1993. And the cover says, they're probably dying that someone figured this out later. This is the cover, War Memories, Special Section, November 11th, 1993. But we're going to reuse the same ad, 1992. Then it says, remembering those who served, about right here, formerly called Armistice Day. I think they misspelled Armistice Day. Thank you, Abby. So unless there was another way of spelling it, they completely misspelled Armistice Day, which is kind of my pet peeve. So I think they were busy putting this together, and this one kind of got overlooked.
I think maybe
they didn't fix that, but I will forgive them. All these years later, I will. My goodness. So, I was a freshman in high school when this was printed. You were probably living in Panama City Beach at that time, weren't you?
No, that was 1987.
Oh, well.
Remember now, what
you
year
were married?
93?
93.
I had a 2-year-old.
Ah.
I had a 2-year-old was pregnant with my third.
Okay. Pregnant with your third?
A second.
What one do I not know about?
The one I keep in the basement. You never know.
That one.
The one that's too much like its mother.
That's funny.
We can't let her out.
Okay, so here's a short one. I'll read this one.
Yeah, you got enough for a
I don't
short
have a lot of time.
Yeah.
International Dateline Complicates Birthday by Ned Cantrell. He was a senior man. And he goes on to write, during the latter portion of World War II, I was privileged to serve as a merchant marine radio operator on board the first Victory-type ship ever built, the SS United Victory. On each of her wartime voyages, all of which were in the Pacific Theater, she carried a full cargo of ammunition. However, God's care sailed with us, and though strafed, our ship was never seriously damaged by enemy action. 5 members of our crew were injured and removed to a hospital in Okinawa. I learned later that all had survived, but yet today they are not forgotten. An interesting non-service connected incident happened to me while sailing. As you know, a person is not 1 year old until after his or her first birthday, nor is one 12 years old until after his or her 12th birthday. But now, truthfully, I am 73 years old and have had only 72 birthdays. How can that be? Another interesting and more significant incident occurred while in port at Shanghai, China, during a post-war voyage. I copied a message in Morse code via direct transmission from the United States, which contained the news that our first son, Gary, had been born. That was my last voyage. So he was the one copying the message in Morse code, and it was actually to be directed to him that his son had been born. The answer to the birthday age question is that I sailed across the international date line at midnight on July the 8th, heading west. That changed the calendar to July the 10th, skipping my birthday of July 9th. So I gained a year in age but had no birthday July 9th to observe. Interesting. So he crossed at midnight on the 8th, so it skipped right over to the 10th because it was midnight. So therefore, there was no July the 9th at all. And that was his birthday. He skipped it. So technically, I guess he didn't have his birthday. It's kind of like if you're born on leap year.
Leap year.
You still age, but you really haven't had that many
so
birthdays.
Weird. Leap years. I still don't even understand leap year. And you can try to explain it to me. I'm never going to understand leap year.
Okay, I won't even try then.
Yeah. I just don't get it. Leap year. It's like, we got to take a day out every 7 years.
Yeah, every 4 years.
4 years.
Because it takes, how many days are there in a year?
365.
365, and a fourth days is how many there are actually in a year. 364.25.
0.25.
So every 4 years, that makes up,
that extra
4
one.
quarters makes a whole. So then that's why.
No.
Do you understand?
Yeah, but I don't think it's right.
Okay. Okay. What you got? Let's make us laugh.
Okay. I pulled out the you might be a redneck if.
Okay.
You might be a redneck if you consider a 6-pack of beer and a bug zapper quality entertainment.
Okay, that could be pretty funny.
Yep, you might be a redneck
I'm going to write a book like that. I'm going to start a comedy show, but instead of you might be a redneck if, mine's going to be called What If I Told You?
Yeah, it would probably be
What if I told you that you can drive over 35 miles an hour on Route 50?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
You can.
You can.
You can do it.
You can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that. And that's it for today. We're out of time again.
Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.